plan for if I'm gonna ever evacuate or be away from my house, frankly, for any amount of time, right? What we find often is that if people don't evacuate with their CPAP machine, with their oxygen concentrator, with their wheelchair, walker, then it can be difficult on the other end.
My name's Ulysses Palencia. I work in the 211 call center. I'm just a resident of Grass Valley. I have two daughters, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. In Nevada County, 211 is available 24/7. So what we provide for the community is information. That could be anything from directions to the resource centers. It can be letting them know where the fire is, if they are themselves in an evacuation center, if it's a fire, if there's any information as to whether their power's coming back on during a PSPS. 211 gets the information that we provide directly from the county, so directly from the Office of Emergency Services. The whole team cares. We're all local community members. We all just want to help.
So we were all sleeping in bed on Thursday, November 8th in Paradise. And first the house phone rang. Picked up my phone. It was my sister who lived a block or so away from us.
We were woken by a telephone call from my daughter. She said that we were being evacuated.
I left sooner than them. I had everything ready. They were on the way out the door.
There was not time to think about what you're going to take, what you're not going to take.
The night before the fire, I knew it was a red flag warning, and I knew that it was a high risk. So on my way home, I filled up the tank.
On our way out, we didn't get too far from the house, and we're watching fire coming down the hill.
There was a machine shop right to my right there. And it had gas tanks and propane tanks. And I saw a lone ember kind of floating through, dancing through the air. And I watched it as it landed on the machine shop. In the time it took me to get my phone back into hand and to take a picture, it was engulfed in flames. And I knew that within moments it would start exploding and I would be dead. And just as I moved out of the range of the explosions, they started happening, and I prayed for the people behind me.
10-minute drive normally to Chico became almost 4 hours. So it was a long trip.
We started to hear a pattern. People kept telling us their story of how they escaped the campfire. And they talked about how if it wasn't for my neighbor who came and knocked on my door to tell me there was a fire, I don't know that I would have gotten out alive. If it wasn't for my son who lives next door picking me up and putting me in their car and driving me out of there, I don't know how I would have survived. And so I started really thinking about this connection between isolation and how connected you are to your community, to your neighbors, to your friends, to your family, and how that can be really helpful in a time of a disaster.
So we were actually the beneficiaries of someone making that plan in advance to have that group of people that they were going to call. And that she saved my life that day. So absolutely having that network really saved lives.
Find your five. The idea is that, find trusted allies that can be there and can be responsive and will check in with you if a disaster were to happen.
So we recommend that you put people in your network that are down the street, that are maybe the next town over, that are outside the county, and maybe even outside the state.
The final tier of the Ready, Set, Go is that go piece, and it's simply that, it's go. Evacuation information comes in two types. The first type could be an evacuation warning, This is essentially information that we're going to push out to the public, notifying them of a potential threat in their area where they may have to evacuate their home. An evacuation order is essentially that. We are telling people that it's time to go. There is an imminent threat to life, and we do not believe that you have much time to leave the area.
Code Red is a opt-in alerting system that will dial your number. It'll send you a phone call, a text message, and an email notifying you of an emergency. That message is sent from...
I'm going to call our special meeting to order. Mr. Diaz, would you lead us in the pledge, please? Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, are there any corrections or deletions to the agenda?
None that I'm aware of, Chair.
Okay, thank you. So we are here for a special meeting this afternoon. Our role here today is to select a clerk-recorder, registrar of voters, to fill the remaining term of former clerk-recorder registrar Natalie Adona. So I'm going to turn it over to our Human Resources Interim Director, Susan Cadera, who's going to walk us through the interview process and interview the candidates. Then we're going to be doing some procedural items from the board, and then we'll actually conduct the interview here in public. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Welcome. And Susan, I'm going to turn it over to you to walk us through the process.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Hall and members of the board. I'm Susan Cadera, the Interim Director of Human Resources, and I am very happy to present this item, which, as you've mentioned, is the appointment of our next Clerk-Recorder Registrar of Voters. This position is an elected position by state statute. Natalie Adona, our former Clerk-Recorder Registrar of Voters, resigned from her position on June 6th, 2025. Soon thereafter, an ad hoc task force was created to facilitate the process that we are here today to do. And that task force is comprised of Supervisors Bullock and Hook. The ad hoc task force requested a recruitment be done for the position, which was done early on, and we gathered several applications, and select applicants were invited to an interview that was held in the early part of September. From those interviews, the ad hoc task force recommended that 2 finalists come forward to you today for this final interview, and I'll introduce them to you and ask them to simply stand up to be noted. Today we have Ms. Tina Belding as one of our finalists, and Mr. Armando Salud Ambris as our other finalists, and we welcome them here. The process that you will undertake is to permit each of them to make opening remarks for about a 3-minute time segment, followed by your board asking each candidate 10 questions. Each of the candidates will be asked the same 10 questions and be given an opportunity to provide an answer. And our guideline for our candidates is that the answer fall within a 3-minute time frame as well. And finally, at the end of the 10 interview question segment, each of the candidates will be able to provide a final wrap-up summary, which would be guided to be about 2 minutes in length. You'll take a discrete poll, and then hopefully a finalist will be identified as the successful candidate, and a motion will be taken at that point to appoint the person. And that is it for me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions, my board? No questions? Okay, thank you very much. County Counsel, I'm going to turn it over to you for a brief legal summary.
Okay. And just a question has just come up. I guess Ms. Belding had a a letter that she wrote to the board that wasn't originally included. And so at this point, I would suggest that that will go to the board ultimately, but I would suggest that she use that in her opening remarks and that we not add anything since this has been well scripted at this point.
All right, we can do that.
Just a couple notes that get asked of this board on a regular basis, and I did write a public memorandum to the Board of Supervisors, but the most important is you are mandated when somebody vacates an elected office to appoint as soon as possible to fill that vacancy. Once you fill that vacancy, that person does become the elected official for all practical purposes and could, for example, not be removed from the board that appointed. That person then will fulfill the duties for the unexpired term of Natalie Adona, which would go through January of 2027. And the other question that's been asked regularly this board is why not call a special election? And that is not allowed by law. So those are, I would say, the highlights of this. If there's any other questions, I'll be glad to answer.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Kit. At this point, I want to ask if any member of the board knows or has any independent knowledge of either of the candidates before we proceed.
I would like to disclose that I did go to high school with Mrs. Belding. We won't say how long ago. And we have crossed paths over the years a handful of times in the community. And I believe in her role as the Placer County Clerk-Recorder when I was applying for, I think, a passport or something.
All right, anybody else? Okay, thank you. So that's noted in our minutes. Madam Clerk, can you discuss any emails and letters that were received, entered into public record?
Yes, the only letter received that I'm aware of that came into the Board of Supervisors group email came from Mr. Michael Taylor, District 1, and it was uploaded and is part of the public record.
Okay, thank you. And then it sounds like we're going to correct the one letter that we did not receive that was supposed to be part of the package. Okay? Okay, so at this point, we're going to open the meeting up to public comment. If there are folks on the phone, you can call in, or folks here can come up to the front. I want to make a point of noting that this is not general public comment. This is specific to this item. Comments will only be allowed that are specific to this item. Please especially direct your comments at this time to the board, not the audience, the staff, or the interviewees. And if members of the public are interested in having specific questions asked of the candidate, please make those comments during public comment, and they will be considered for inclusion in the existing questions we have. We'll do that after the fact. We will not be responding to any public comment on this item. All right, I would like to remind speakers to keep their comments to 3 minutes, please, and you can state your name and district of residence if you'd like. So let's see if there's any public comment in the chambers. Seeing none, any callers, Madam Clerk?
I'm not seeing any callers, Chair.
No callers, I'll just give it another few seconds. Oh, okay, we have public comment here.
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Diaz, District 4 I live in. I'd like you to ask a question to the candidates about the 2020 election and their thoughts about the 2020 election and the legitimacy of the 2020 election. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz. Any other public comment in the chambers? Any callers once more?
There's still no callers, Chair.
Okay, we will close public comment. Thank you very much. Let's just take a minute. Let's see, let me ask Susan, is there any question that we have in our list that would address this issue? No.
Not specifically, but you do have a question that approximates the question that Mr. Diaz raised.
Okay. So can we incorporate that specific request into that question as we get to it?
Yes, let me just take a moment to reread the questions, and I, if I may, would suggest which question you can meld
Okay.
Mr. Diaz's in.
All right. We'll just take a 4-minute break right now so we can conduct this. Just checking with County Council, and if you agree, Susan, I think what we'll do is, to our candidates, you've heard the question that Mr. Diaz would like us to ask, and when it comes to the questions that you will be asked, there will be a place for you to address that, and that will be up to your discretion as to whether you want to incorporate that or not. So let's move ahead that way. All right? Okay, thank you. So I think we are now ready to hear your opening remarks, limited to no more than 3 minutes, except for the letter. Now, let's see. Do we want to handle this letter separately, Kit? Have her read the letter and then and then switch to the opening comments? She doesn't need to? Okay, great. We'd love to have it. Okay, all right. All right, then we're going to just go straight into public comment. We'd like to limit your remarks to no more than 3 minutes. And since Ms. Belding is going to be the first interviewee, we're going to ask Mr. Salud Ambriz to present his opening comments first. And come on up to the desk there.
Test, test, test. Yep, works loud and clear.
Yeah, you'll have to speak right into it or pull it close to you. That should work fine.
Board Chair, Supervisors, and Community of County of Nevada, it is an honor to be here as a finalist to be the Clerk-Recorder Register of Voters for Nevada County. My name is Armando Salud Ambriz, and I've devoted 16 years of my career. Yes, I started young, but that does not equate to unfit of my career to election administration. My journey in election administration started in 2009 when I took on a role at the Secretary of State's office, California Secretary of State's office, specifically in the elections department, supporting candidates and then election night and reporting. I was working for the Secretary of State's office for about 3.5 years, and within I supported the phone bank system as well as the registration department, and even was able to speak on behalf of the Secretary of State, both Deborah Bowen and Alex Padilla, in the immigration citizenship ceremonies. I had the honor of then transferring from the statewide election administration's business to the Sacramento County Elections Department, where I started in the role of registration assistant. Within that department, I promoted to the outreach specialist, where we provided mock elections among other outreach programs and education to the county of Sacramento, which for the record had about 750 plus thousand registered voters. I then, within a year of that, promoted to the voting systems and technology supervisor, where I oversaw the creation of the ballot voter information guide, served as a language liaison for multiple language, and continued these efforts in doing the pre and post testing of our systems, counting of the ballots, and issuance of the results, among also running the elections website. Within a year after that, I promoted into Yolo County Elections Office, where I oversaw multiple departments. They have a registered number of about 121,000 registered voters. And within 2 years from then, got promoted to the assistant department head, also known as the deputy of elections, and was in that role for about 4 years. My elections experience does not stop there. Due to my passion or career or civic-minded leadership and style, I was also awarded positions nationally, both at the National Election Center, National Voter Registration Day, and served in collaborative efforts with the United States Elections Assistance Commission, creating videos on best practices on how election administration is run. Outside of that, I held statewide roles with the Elections Department, specifically just left the co-chair position of the statewide Language Accessibility Advisory Committee and was a co-chair for the Voters with Specific Needs Committee for years as well. My passion and thrive for election administration, as I mentioned, really is my entire career. I got a degree in criminal justice at California State University, Sacramento, but then expanded my experience in education when I got a degree in Masters of Public Administration through a law school at McGeorge School of Law, which is one of two in the nation that brings the perspective in the legal sense. So that is, I think, a quick 3-minute summary that I look forward in expanding more later. It is an honor to be here, and just know that I'm so excited and it's an honor to be here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to turn it over to Ms. Belding and go ahead and give us your opening
Hi,
remarks.
Supervisors. Thank you for the opportunity and allowing me to be here. And Supervisor Tucker, thank you for not telling us how long it has been since we've been in school together.
I'm sorry, I'll need you to speak right in. You can pull it right up in front of you and speak right into it. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Being a resident of Nevada County for more than 4 decades, I can think of nothing more rewarding than serving my community in the capacity of Clerk-Recorder, Registrar of Voters. I grew up here, raised my children here, and now my grandbabies are being raised here. This is not just a place to work, but it is my home. Thomas Jefferson once said, "When a man assumes public trust, he should consider himself as public property." As a public servant, my motivation and role are to serve the interests, needs, and well-being of the public, administering and upholding the laws the position is governed by. I have over 11 years of experience in the Clerk-Recorder Elections Office and have overseen 22 federal, state, and local elections. I am the current Yuba County Elections Manager. I assist in the management of the budget of over $1.3 million, overseeing a staff of 4. Prior to that, I was a supervisor senior for the Placer County Elections Office and supervised a staff of 13, more than 80 temporary staff, and hundreds of election aides during election time. While employed with Placer County, I led the high school outreach, candidate workshops, city clerk training. I participated in the development of election administrative plans and the language and voter accessibility advisory committees. I am a member of the California Association of Clerk and Election Officials. I completed the California Professional Education Administrator Credentials Program, and I am a registered elections official. Currently, I'm working towards an executive credential through the California State Association of Counties, focusing on professional growth and turning management into leadership and collaboration. I have extensive experience in elections management, progressing from elections technician to election manager over 11 years. This demonstrates my understanding of the elections process from voting registration to canvassing and creating levels of supervisorial and leadership responsibilities, as well as my drive of learning and personal growth. My career is rooted in administering and managing all aspects of elections in compliance with state and federal laws. My areas of expertise are voter registration, election preparedness, canvassing, logistics, and compliance. Over time, my role has shifted toward supervisorial functions, demonstrating leadership and management capabilities that include staff supervision, administrative oversight, and relationship management, collaborating with county departments and outside vendors to meet deadlines and serve the public as an election resource. My background has given me a deep understanding of how state legislation impacts operational procedures and systems. I am confident in my ability to assess the impacts and ensure continued operational success. If selected, I am committed to serving and delivering the highest level of professionalism and customer service to the community. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. All right. We're going to move into the actual interview process now. And I want to remind my board members that, let's see, the candidates, we'd like you to keep your answers to approximately 3 minutes. The board members will each ask 2 questions for a total of 10. And they're going to be following the script so that you will each be asked the same question, and we'll alternate between who goes first and who goes second. For my colleagues here on the board, note that we need to follow the script of the questions that we have. We cannot ask unexpected questions unless we need to clarify something the candidate already spoke about, such as the meaning of an acronym, or to explain something not in the public domain. And then when we're done with our questions, you will each have an opportunity to make your closing comments, and then we'll proceed from there. All right, so I am going to go first, and Ms. Belding, you are going to be the first person to answer the question. The question is, how would you strengthen public confidence in elections, particularly in the face of heightened scrutiny? Please include specific actions you would take.
I would make sure that the doors are always open. If the office and the people in it are open or here, then we would be open to the public. I would make sure that they know that they are available to me at any point in time, that I am willing to give tours and educate them on the steps necessary for completing successful elections. If they have questions about recording, I would look into the legalities of it and make sure that I'm giving honest and correct answers. I would make sure that our website is up to date. A lot of people go to the website to make sure that they can find information there. I would make sure it's up to date. I would also make sure that press releases, social media, anything that relates to getting information out quickly, if there's something that needs to go to the public in a quick and fastest manner, that I would do that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Salud Abris, the same question, I'll repeat it for you. How would you strengthen public confidence in elections, particularly in the face of heightened scrutiny? Please include specific actions you would take.
I'll start off by saying that unfortunately misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation, also referred to as MDM, has been one of the biggest challenges that election administrators have seen ever since the 2020 election. The scrutiny has been so heightened that so many of us colleagues have left the space because of the attacks, the conspiracy theories, and or the unintentional lack of understanding or knowledge of education and how our systems work. First and foremost, I think it's also important to recognize that people listen or obtain information differently, and that we must meet them where they are. So that can include radio channels, social media, TikTok snippets, press releases, as been mentioned, town halls in the spaces where they can't commute to us as easily as others. Meeting them where they are is uberly important here. I think it's also important to recognize that the elections code requires election administrators to create or invite folks to be part of an election observer panel. In my experience at the Yolo County Elections Office, we expanded that training to encompass more so a training of a global aspect to answer any and all questions before the election and then after the election. That started after the 2020 election, and I can tell you my success meter, you could say, or metric, was the fact that November 2024, no one showed up anymore. Yolo County was part of grand jury report investigations every year, I feel like. And as you know, as Board of Supervisors, that is not too common, but because of the heightened scrutiny, it was important for them to conduct that. I can tell you that based on my election administration and experience in building the operations of that office in Yolo County, every grand jury report came out positive as to what we're doing, how we're doing. And that narrative supports the building of the trust to the community to ensure that we are doing what we need to do, follow code, follow law, We've also had success in social media and working with community-based organizations so that there are also a trusted source. The elections office will be a trusted source, but then we have community-based organizations that then propel that information over to us. So meeting where the voters are and try multifaceted avenues of communication.
All right, thank you. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Vice Chair Swarthout.
Good afternoon and welcome both of you. Thanks so much for coming up to Nevada County on this beautiful fall day that we're having. So this is going to go to Mr. Salud Ambriz first. Nevada County is socially, economically, culturally, and politically diverse. What strategies would you implement to grow and build voter participation across the entire county population?
Great question. As someone who has been outreach and education for many years, I can tell you that it's about having that mindset that is nonpartisanship. My role is to ensure that I have no barriers in the county and the county voters who are eligible should register and vote, and that there's no barriers presented to them. It's about educating on the system, educating on the opportunities, and it is about building trust with political parties, with candidates themselves, and also turning our candidates and turning our League of Women Voters organization, again, going back to that community-based organization and collaboration. The more we build trusted leaders to voice that transparency that we have, the more trust we will have. Democracy right now is dependent on trust. And the more transparent we can be, the more transparency we advertise, the more opportunities to build trust, to build networks, and to build bridges together so that we can accomplish one thing, and that is get people to register and vote.
Okay, I'll repeat the question for you. Nevada County is socially, economically, culturally, and politically diverse. What strategies would you implement to grow and build voter participation across the entire county population?
I think involving all ages is important as well, going to high school outreach, developing those programs if they aren't already available so that you're reaching the younger youth, and then as well doing programs for senior outreach, and that would be reaching out to senior living facilities and making sure that they're not disenfranchised because they've moved into a different location. Excuse me. Also in Placer County, Ryan was a very good mentor in making sure that the policy of open doors also meant the political parties. So making sure that you're available to them and making sure that you're able to answer the questions that they have. And then I think it was last week, I was with Corey and just stopped by. I didn't facilitate this or anything. I just stopped by to say hi. But he does, the county elections office does some outreach already. So they were at the Latino Family Festival last week, and I stopped by and said hi. And he said that they did that again at the fairgrounds, and that they do it throughout the county. He did say that they have trouble finding a location in the Truckee area, so I would reach out to Supervisor Bullock and try to find an area where we might be able to outreach there for some further communication with the town. And then again, just being open and available. Thank you.
Okay, Supervisor Bullock, you are next.
Okay, thank you. Oops. Our third question, and this will go to Ms. Belding first. Technology in the election space continues to evolve and change, sometimes at a pace that raises concerns among some voters. Please share your philosophy on how to best balance the introduction of new systems while maintaining voter confidence and elections security.
The Secretary of State is responsible for certifications of voting equipment, so making sure that voters know that that's there and available for reading and research, and then welcoming them in during logistic and accuracy testing to make sure that they see that those voting equipment are not connected to Wi-Fi. I know that that was one concern over, I think it was 2020. And then doing whatever needs to be done to make sure that their answers are, or their questions are answered, sorry. And then there's the canvassing period, there's 1% manual tally, which also further verifies that the voting equipment is accurate and that it's being performed in a correct and safe manner.
Thank you. And Mr. Salud-Ambriz, the same question, I'll repeat it. Question number 3, technology in the election space continues to evolve and change, sometimes at a pace that raises concerns among some voters. Please share your philosophy on how to best balance the introduction of new systems while maintaining voter confidence and election security.
I think it's important to note that serving as an election administrator is not just about counting ballots anymore. It's about creating trust in the democracy system that we've built together. It is important to also know that cybersecurity is a huge topic of conversation. That is a hot topic, and that is about us as an election administration and office coming together and not just focus on the systems that we use, but it's the people that we work with. It's our staff, it's our poll workers, because it's not only having good and new technology, it's about training our staff to identify, report, and react in a manner that is not counterproductive to our functions and operations. Voting systems, as you all know, are controlled by the actual vendors themselves, but when we work together in order to showcase how to use them and create some sort of open houses, that's always been an asset to create that trust from the voter directly to the voting system and not just to our office. I have experience in creating a voter accessibility day prior to every election, or specifically the last fall election, to bring all voting systems in one place and showcasing if you have a disability of any sort, this is a system, this is how you use it. And that's a collaborative effort with the Disability Rights of California organization, across others serving the blind, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I also think it's important to note that our colleagues, the voting systems creators, are our friends. They are there on election day or election days because we are a Vote Center Act model here. And when I converted the Yolo County Elections Office within a span of 6 months, traditional polling place model in March of 2020 to the vote center-like model in November 2020, that was a 6-month mark that we had transition and bring in brand new systems that unfortunately not even our previous poll workers were able to use. Why? Because the technology was not in the same mind frame of the folks that we had working. So it was about meeting at meeting with city folks, presenting to the city, also presenting to any sort of district, whether it's a fire district, a community service district, or regular city council. It's important to bring, again, meeting people where they are and showcasing this is a new system, this is how it works, and we want you to test it out and have fun with it, with the demo systems that are available in order to get comfortable. I also have experience in providing the actual, in Yolo County, we went to the high schools and created ballots using the HEART system to our students to do their student body elections to show them what a real live ballot will be when they turn 18 and can vote. If they stay obviously in Yolo County because we're a HEART county. So meeting where the people are, showcasing, and again, it's about working with the vendors, but also our staff to be able to identify, speak, and react in a way that is productive to all of us.
Okay. Thank you. Supervisor Hook, you're next.
Well, thank you. So, Mr. Salud, let's see, I'm starting with you this time. Thank you. So we're going to do, please explain your specific experience with budget development and management.
As the Assistant Department Head, also known as Deputy of Election, I work closely with our Deputy of Technology and Finance in order to build our budget. So the Assessor Clerk-Recorder Elections Department is who oversees in Yolo County the 3 sister agencies, as we call it, and each assistant or each deputy is entrusted with building of the budget, understanding the nuances of what's forthcoming and how to navigate, in this case, what we're all going to see is budget cuts. I am in charge of creating the budget narrative so that the elected official then is able to present the budget narrative in regards to our accomplishments, our successes, and our what's to come. All of that then builds the storyline as to why our budget was built the way it is, and then looking forward to approval of the budget. As always, you have the ability to counter that based on what you see needs fit, and then we come back as a group, an executive team, to make the decisions to cut where we need to in order to move forward. I know that we are entering in a space of the unknown when it comes to government funds, and that's why it's important to be very cognizant and mindful and watching out of our budget, identifying spaces where we can improve efficiencies and operations of our operations, so that maybe we need a less overtime. Maybe we need to identify some operation to create less overtime, to create less extra help. But definitely heavily involved in creating, again, the budget narrative and the whole budget as a whole to then present, to have the elected official present to the board.
Thank you. Ms. Belding, same question. Please explain your specific experience with budget development and management.
My experience with budget and management has been recent with Yuba County elections, is the first time that I've had experiences with that. And I've worked with Donna, who is the Registrar of Voters and oversees the budget itself, but also worked in tandem with her to make sure that we made an account of all of the budget expenditures that we would have for the year, and then any revenue that might come in for the upcoming primary election, which is limited. It's just candidate statements, mostly general fund. So making sure that we have an account for the Board of Supervisors and the CAO to be able to determine if that is a good set of numbers or if we need to go back and revisit where cuts would be needed. That is the extent of my budget for the time being. It's a $1.3 million budget. I'm willing to dive right in and learn the best that I can as quickly as I can with the administrative assistant with the county clerk.
Thank you. Supervisor Tucker.
All right, Ms. Belding, you go first on this one. The National Voter Registration Act requires that a reasonable effort be made to remove the names of ineligible voters from the official list of eligible voters. How do you approach voter roll maintenance, and how can you best achieve a clean list without inadvertently disenfranchising eligible voters?
The voter rolls can be easily kept clean, but there is also the VoteCal, which is a statewide database where records are constantly moving back and forth, so it's not just isolated to our own system anymore. So it's constantly moving depending on when voters are moving in and out of the state, when they've passed away. And so there's always going to be a period where there's certain numbers of voters that are inactive or moving between counties. There's the 58 counties that they're going to be moving through, and those go through the VoteCal portal. So, but personally, in the county, I would make sure to do audits and make sure that we're bumping information against duplicate reports and seeing where we can clean up those rolls. And before any election, you can do a a pre-residency confirmation card, and you can send that out to all of your registered voters to make sure that you identify those who no longer live in the area and clean up those rolls before the election and kind of streamline and minimize the ballots that might be going out that don't belong to be going out.
All right, thank you. And same question, I'll repeat. The National Voter Registration Act requires that a reasonable effort be made to remove the names of ineligible voters from the official list of eligible voters. How do you approach voter roll maintenance, and how can you best achieve a clean list without inadvertently disenfranchising eligible voters?
This is a fun question for me, and my election nerd is going to showcase here. I attribute my extensive knowledge in National Voter Registration Act and the manual that is produced not just by the federal government, by the California Secretary of State, that details out the legal requirements as how to conduct maintenance on voter registration databases. I then take that to a whole nother level based on my experience with Sacramento County and starting in their registration department to go deeper and to do things outside of election code that is legal but not required. What do I mean by that? So we all know the conspiracy theorists that folks who are unalive might be voting. So I took that conspiracy theorist theory, and I said, why don't we evaluate folks who are older than a certain age and ask them to re-register based on the fact that we have an older voter registration form on our record. By asking them to confirm and re-register, not only are we doing this to obtain a new signature so that hopefully when they're getting the vote by mail ballot processed, if that's the way they're voting, that they don't get a challenge to their signature or that they might update it. Then there's the situation that took place in San Joaquin County where there was a local council member who was found guilty of registering folks in a household. So there was a group of members in different households and or apartments. And so I said, before it even gets out here, we need to address that. So we then took initiative to look into specific groups of families that live together and did the same type of reach out. Do you really live here? And we also looked into the voter registration cards. Then there is the residency confirmation card that takes place prior to every election cycle. In Yolo County, we do more and we go above that. There's two specific election codes, one that you can use an electronic system to make that verification, so that's what we do. And then we use the other code, which is the postcard. And because we already completed and did our due diligence and did the election code law requirement, which is the first code, we use the second code as a base to not just reach out to all our voters, but also our inactive voters that we send a card to say, confirm where you are. And that has helped tremendously create a current up-to-date voter record. Then we go on further by saying that I've been part of the initiative to clean up the street addressing. So instead of it being range-based when it comes to registering folks, we actually go point by point, address point by address point. So if you lived at XYZ First Street, apartment 2, but that doesn't reside in our system, we then question it. Because do you really know where you live? Or is it a new building? Is it an ADU? What is this? And if it really doesn't exist, we can't register you because it's an incorrect address. So I have multiple experience as to not just follow the law, but go above and beyond to ensure that we have an accurate voter roll in our system.
Thank you. Okay, I'm next, and my question will first go to you, Mr. Salud Ambriz. Please describe your leadership style and, more specifically, your plan for effectively leading the Nevada County team. Additionally, what will be your approach to professional development for yourself and the team?
I will have to say, if you have my resume, there's top 5 Clinton strengths. My number 2 is WOO, stands for winning others over, and that is creating a positive environment and space. I've been involved both at the Yolo County Elections Office and the Sacramento County Elections Office, building of the Employee Appreciation and Recognition Committees in order to boost morale and provide support to those that might not feel like they do. Everyone receives awards or recognitions in different formats, and it's a matter of supporting that effort. My leadership style comes with empathy. I lead with humility, not with ego. I am approachable, personable, and I have great relationships already with many members of the Nevada County Elections Office because of my highly active involvement with the association and being the voters with specific needs. I come already prepared with respect and relationships. And the way I build my own professional development is continue to learn. I'm a learner. I continue wanting to learn. I already obtained my SARA degree, which is the highest level of respect you can get from the National Election Center. I also became a California registered official. I'm a senior credentialed executive from the CSAC organization. And so if there's any other organizations or support of ways that I can continue to perform and develop myself professionally, I will always take that opportunity and also provide that opportunity to my staff. There's nothing better than having a well-rounded staff who are committed to this organization, because in the world of elections, you either step into it and you sink or you swim, and I am swimming and I'm living it.
Okay, great, thank you. And Ms. Belding, same question, I'll repeat it. Please describe your leadership style and more specifically, your plan for effectively leading the Nevada County team. Additionally, what will be your approach to professional development for yourself and for the team?
I like to lead by example. I do believe that if I have that expectation for them, that I should be willing and able to do that job as well. So I like to meet them where they're at. I like to also be a resource and a support for them. And professional growth, I would make sure that they have the accessibility to professional trainings, and I believe that the Nevada County has resources for that. For myself, I am currently enrolled for an executive credential through the California State Association of Counties, and I hope to continue that growth. I would suggest and hope that the rest of the team would continue in that growth because, like Armando said, elections is a swim or sink. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Vice Chair Swarthout, you're next.
Okay. So this goes to Ms. Belding first. Oops, sorry. An important part of this role will be ensuring that Nevada County voters are informed about election law and processes. What is your approach to communicating sometimes complicated issues to a general audience?
My approach would be to research and know that I fully understand those laws before I try to teach somebody else. And then I would make sure that I'm available and open. If it's in a forum like this, I would make sure that I have all of the background for the legalities and the codes and regulations that I am trying to teach, and make sure that I have a full understanding of it before I expect them to have a full understanding of it. I would engage in hands-on whenever possible and be open to allowing them to come in and see that work.
Okay, same question. An important part of this role will be ensuring that Nevada County voters are informed about elections, law, and processes. What is your approach to communicating sometimes complicated issues to a general audience?
November 2024, I spearheaded using AI for the same purpose, and that was to standardize our 200 plus page election manual and ask AI to review our final version and say, we want it to lose, we don't want it to lose its efficiency and importance, but how can we make this language easier for understandability based on, but just for all of our poll workers. That created simpler versions of wordings in order to meet the needs that we wanted. It was a true success, but also it's again going to meeting where folks are. How are they receptive to the information? Is it a commercial? Is it a radio? Is it a information page on the County Voter Information Guide? Is it a press release? Is it social media? Is it TikTok? I can tell you right now, TikTok, although it sounds kind of, the craze, I can tell you that when we created this TikTok channel based with the help of an intern, it doesn't have to be complicated. It's a matter of, this is how you drop in a vote by mail ballot. This is how you sign. This is why there's 2 holes around the signature to guide the voter who might be hard of seeing. There's these little 15-second snippets that can change the perspective and educate folks in a very meaningful and trusted way. Again, we as the elections office should always be the trusted source. And if we can work with community-based organizations and hear what they're needing or wanting and in the way that they're needing it, we can tailor that message because yes, policies, regulations, and election code has gone from the election code when I started to the election code that we have now, and it continues to expand based on laws that get passed. So definitely meeting where the folks are, using technology to support our efforts is huge.
Great. Supervisor Bullock, you're next.
Okay. This is question number 8. We're going to start with Mr. Salud-Umbriz. And the question is, one challenge in Nevada County is that we are geographically large, with community members who live in remote areas with limited transportation and communication options. Given our rural nature and dispersed population, what practices would you employ to ensure important elections-related information from your office reach as many people as possible?
I can't expand on the current outreach team that we have, but I can tell you that voter outreach and education is hugely important. And with the support of the board, if appointed, it's about allowing us to build a stronger outreach team that can go to the corners of our county here and attend, as I mentioned, a town hall city, whether it's a CSD meeting, a fire district meeting, a city hall meeting, providing a virtual Zoom type of space to get information. I think it's also important to know that I was able to successfully deploy a mobile vote center in the county of Yolo County. That is the most northern county that has a mobile vote center. And what we do is we went to all the townships 7 days prior to election day. It was a 1-day kind of township mobile vote center to go again to the corners of the county that don't get information or have the ability or have to drive further in order to actually cast a live ballot. That works up, and then we don't use the mobile vote center on election day, so it can be used as an emergency mobile vote center. So using different tactics and again building a strong voter outreach program and education program is hugely important.
Let's turn this back on. Thank you. And over to you, Ms. Building, for question number 8. I'll just restate it. One challenge in Nevada County is that we are geographically large with community members who live in remote areas with limited transportation and communication options. Given our rural nature and dispersed population, what practices would you employ to ensure important elections-related information from your office reach as many people as possible?
So outreach is super important. High school outreach goes to each one of the high school counties or high schools within the county and offers information to the voters or the high school students on how to become registered, how to vote a ballot, and how to return that ballot. Also, there's candidate filing, which would be something that you could go do throughout the different parts of the different supervisorial districts to make sure that candidates that live in those areas can receive the information directly from you and answer questions. Being open, available to towns if they have suggestions or they have festivals or something or they would like you to speak out about voting education, I would be willing to do that. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We are going on to Supervisor Hook. You are next.
Ms. Building, tell us about your philosophy and approach to transparency and the role of the public during a ballot counting process.
I think that transparency is very important and that it should be open and accessible to anybody who wants to come and see it. By law, you have to allow observers to come, and I would welcome and invite everybody to come into that process. I recently went with Corey and saw the new voting processing plant that you guys have. It's very nice and it's very welcoming. It would it provides a wider space for voters to be able to come in and see how that process is done, but also walking them through each one of those processes, what it takes for that ballot once it's returned to get counted. It doesn't just go through and get counted. You need to go through signature verification if it's a vote by mail ballot. There's adjudication that might need to take place if there's ambiguous marks on the ballot. There's duplication processes. A lot of times with the UOCAPA ballots, you have to duplicate them first before processing. And then just letting them see how the signature verification works, walking them through the 1% and the canvassing.
Nice, thank you. Same question, Mr. Zudambriz. Tell us about your philosophy and approach to transparency and the role of the public during the ballot counting process.
I tune in my OCD for this. Transparency can be fun, and what do I mean by that? I established a color-coded ballot bin system in the county of Yolo. What was that for? That was to allow for anyone, a voter, a candidate, someone just from the public, a board of supervisor, any member of the public and resident of the county can go into Yolo County, the back office where we're processing ballots, and you will know that if a ballot is in a red bin, it has not been scanned. If a ballot is in a green bin, it has been verified and ready to be counted. If it's in a blue blue bin, it's been undeliverable. If it's in a black bin, it is pending other checks. Transparency, again, is very, very important. So the more we invite, but the more innovative we are in creating this space so that someone just walks in and knows automatically what's happening is really, really important. Again, accountability builds trust. And the more we can build that accountability and the support and trust, the more that then those observers go tell the story of, well, go look in the green bin because those are counted, ready to be counted. I think the expansion of the election observation panel that turns into kind of a training as to what's available, what candidates can obtain as reports, all of that is us allowing the public to be in our space, to know what they have the ability to obtain, and then go home knowing that Nevada County is the most transparent and successful elections office in the state. No offense to my other elected state officials in the county, in the state.
All right, and finally, Supervisor Tucker.
All right, I think this is the last question from the board, and we'll start with you. What defines success for you in this role, and how will you measure that in your first year as Registrar of Voters, and how will you communicate that progress to the public?
I think success is defined by oneself. It's us creating targets and goals and meeting them and presenting to the board. It's listening to the public, it's listening to the board, it's listening to our voters as to what they see is needed. And then having that conversation with our staff to say, is this something we can accomplish? If not, let's present why we cannot, whether it's staffing resources, financial resources, etc. There's metrics can be created by showcasing the success of pilot programs. I know Nevada County is a very strong advocate for pilot programs, and I too support that as well, because at the end of the day, we're creating systems to create efficiencies in our processes so that, again, we become one of the best. I think it's important to know that the more we get in tune to listening and being a big listener, the more we're going to be, the more the public is going to be receptive to what we deploy, what we don't deploy, and as to why. Creating a narrative as a justification for folks to understand why this is changing, why this is being incorporated is also important, and always having stakeholders part of the process it will build, again, the trust that we all need when it comes to creating expectations for oneself and then showcasing the success afterwards. I think it's also important to come to the board with those, whether it's at the budget narrative aspect of the presentations or even prior to election when candidate services are about to begin and we ask the board to approve the districts that are going to ballot, and then afterwards showcase the success that we had. I think success in staffing also is the staffing growing in spaces and wanting to learn and grow more. Giving that opportunity to staff to say, hey, as a registrar, are you allowing me to cross over and train? That is hugely important for succession planning and something I also support. Thank you for your time.
All right, same question. What defines success for you in this role? How will you measure that in your first year as Registrar of Voters? And how will you communicate that progress to the public?
I would define success by an effective and efficient election held, and by the staff being knowledgeable and understanding that their role in the development of the election process, as well as clerk recorders being up to date. I would also measure my success by the collaboration between the Board of Supervisors and any other departments. For instance, when you're in elections, you also have to deal with the Emergency Services Office, the Sheriff's Department, making sure that they're collaborating with you, that you understand what they need from you, but also what you need from them as far as security goes within the letter of the law. County Council, making sure that I have a good understanding and rapport with them so that they are able to assist when I need verification on a regulation code or a PRA, public request. Also with Board of Supervisors, making sure that we're collaborating and that I am assisting in needs that you have in outreach for voters and education in your areas. I would also say that success is measured by the results of the election and the voters and their take on the election after. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you both. That is the end of our set questions. So we're going to go to your closing thoughts. You each have an opportunity to summarize qualifications for the position or include any other information that maybe wasn't asked in the process. This is a 2-minute limitation on this one. And let's see, since Ms. Belding provided opening comments second, you're going to go first for your closing remarks. You're going to go first, yeah.
Thank you.
2 minutes.
Integrity is important and the foundation of our democracy. We didn't always live in a time of distrust of elections. In the first 6 years working in elections, we were observed and approached with gratitude and appreciation for a job well done. Now we're faced with threats, negativity, scrutiny, and misinformation. I would work hard and remain committed to the integrity of the process and address concerns openly and honestly to earn that trust back. People need to know how the process works and to see that it's open. I'd welcome visitors and observers to come in, ask questions, and learn the process. I look forward to improving all over perception of the elections process and the challenges it brings. I would like to be the trusted partner the county can rely on for the accurate and secure elections, building trust and helping voters feel confident that their vote matters. While I can't speak on behalf of elections across the country, I can say every bit of confidence that I will follow and administer election in accordance with law, making sure that each available ballot is counted. My party affiliation on my voter registration will never be an indication of how the office is run or the decisions made. As a nonpartisan office, politics will be left at the door, and I will be the public servant Nevada County residents can be proud of and deserve. I will dive right into learning as quickly as possible all the duties within the Clerk-Recorder side of the office and develop cross-county partnerships that I can lean on during my progression. I have mentors in both Placer and Yuba counties who have expressed their support, and I will join the County Recorders Association of California as an additional resource. In Nevada County, people value strong personal relationships. I will focus on building connections with the public, with local leaders, and maintaining a collaborative effort with other departments. In closing, I would like to say I had the pleasure of meeting Armando a few months back, and I have every confidence that the Clerk-Recorder Registrar of Voters will be in capable hands regardless of the board's decision today. Thank you for the time and for the opportunity, and if I have any time left, I would love to address Mr. Diaz's question because I don't think that was answered earlier. I would say that in 2020, the elections, there was a lot of misinformation, and while I can't speak on the country for itself, I can speak on the fact that I am being a resident of Nevada County, I had every bit of faith that he ran the election with security and integrity, and I know that for Placer, we did the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see our clock wasn't running, so that's fine. You did fine. And just do your best to stay in the same run. Thank you. Thank you.
As we close, I want to leave you with this once again, and that is that elections are more than just counting ballots. It is about creating and building confidence in our democracy itself. Nevada County deserves a registrar, whether it's me or Tina, who I have high respect for, who can anticipate challenges, adapt quickly, and lead with transparency, especially in the era of cybersecurity and misinformation threats that we are being undertaken. I bring a proven track record of doing just that, having managed multiple high turnout record elections under pressure, expanded access for underrepresented communities, and built partnership with community-based organizations to increase voter participation and trust. I have guided teams through change, improved operations through innovation, and have earned recognition as a statewide and national leader in the world of election administration. Beyond my expertise, I bring my personal story. As a son of working Mexican immigrants, I know firsthand the power of opportunity and representation. Every voter's voice matters, and I carry that lesson with me into every decision that I make as a leader. If entrusted with this role, I will serve Nevada County with integrity, humility, equity, and dedication. I will be a visible and accessible and flexible leader, strengthening the process with trust and ensuring that every voter in every corner of this county has both access to the ballot and confidence in the outcome. It'd be an honor to serve as your next Registrar of Voters to build a legacy like I did in Yolo County. I may not live in Nevada right now, but I can tell you that once I move into this county, I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk, and I get ingrained into the community. What you're looking at is a long-term goal-oriented leader that is ready to serve.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much for your thoughtful and thorough answers. Really appreciate that time you've taken in your answers and both your opening and closing statements. Your job is now done. You can relax, and our job begins. So we're going to bring it to the board to have any conversation among us, and I'm going to start with the ad hoc that did so much good work, and I want to thank you both, Supervisor Bullock and Hook, for all the work you did, and for the staff and everyone involved in the panels to get us to this place. So who would like to start? She's coughing, I think.
Bless you. Yeah. Thank you both, to you, Mr. Salute-Ombres and Ms. Belding, for applying and being willing to go through the process and work your way through the motions. I know it's been taxing on many levels, multiple interviews and panel interviews and selection process. And I also wanted to thank Wendy Brown, our consultant team, who helped us generate a whole complement of qualified candidates. And so I'm happy to bring to the board and to my colleagues on the board, and I think Supervisor Hook will agree, two very qualified candidates who could fill this role for us, having worked our way through many other candidates in the process. I also wanted to just briefly mention a thank you to all the people who volunteered for our panel to do the initial interview, people from outside our organization with Placer County, Nevada County, and other special districts to try and reach in and talk to everybody. I am amazed at the amount of information and content associated with this job. I learned a lot. I am a huge supporter of transparency, a huge supporter of the county telling its own story, and I think the office of the ROV, Registrar of Voters, and Clerk-Recorder's office is a great place to do that and to ensure and instill confidence in local government. And so I wish you both the best of luck in the process, and just thanks for letting Supervisor Hook and myself be part of this.
Supervisor Hook?
Thank you. I know my voice isn't very good. Hardy said it quite well. It's been a great experience, and I think we brought you two candidates that are both very, very capable of filling this position, and I want to thank you both for being here. You went through rigorous questions from both the panels and from us, and back here today, so I wish you both luck here. And Heidi, I want to thank you too for actually having us on this ad hoc. I learned more about voting and the Clerk-Recorder than I probably would have just on a regular daily basis, so I'm thankful for that opportunity myself. Oh, thanks.
Okay, Lisa. No comment. Supervisor Tucker?
Yeah, so this is our one and only chance?
Yes, this is our opportunity to have a conversation
Okay,
about.
sounds good.
which-
First of all,
what
thank you to
person you
both.
might prefer, not simply.
Yep. Thank you both. I think I would echo what my colleagues have communicated, that this position is in good hands. Either way, you guys are both extremely impressive, your experience, your knowledge. So kudos to the ad hoc board and the staff for doing this, or for presenting us with such qualified candidates. Without getting into the details, I think for me, just to give a little background on kind of my overall, approach, because like I said, we have such great candidates. I feel like our county has had a little bit of a challenge, and probably not in the way people are going to think, but 4 out of our 6 electeds are actually appointed, were originally appointed or currently appointed. For me, that's an issue, and I know we have to do it here, and this is a great process, and we've got great candidates. But for me, there's something in me that, this is intended, these electeds, to be elected by the people. So I think part of my mindset going in is trying to track as closely as that would be, and not to distinguish between individuals, but maybe the process. So I tend to give weight to were the election held tomorrow, who would be not only eligible, but maybe make more sense to me and perhaps the constituents. But I guess fast forwarding through that, I think because of that, and knowing there's an election coming up, I would encourage both of you, specifically the one who isn't chosen, to consider running next year, because within a year, a little over a year, we will have an election, which is, I think, how these positions were intended to be filled by the people, not by us up here. But since we are mandated to do this, that's where we're at. But for me, I do tend to give more consideration to if this were an election today or tomorrow, whatever, what that would look like. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. So I would encourage both of you to continue. I know you got great things in your futures, no matter what you do. But we'll look forward to working with either one of you, no matter what.
Thank you, Supervisor Tucker. Yeah, Hardy, you wanted to say something more?
Thanks for bringing that up. It was a great question, a great point. There's been a lot of discussion around the future potential of making this position appointed, which is not the intention of the board. There's no discussion has been currently undertaken about that. However, the legislation that's currently afoot, our indication, indicating that we would, at some future date, like the opportunity to appoint somebody if leaving that door open, essentially speaking. But at this point, that's never been discussed, and there's absolutely no intention of that. But to your point, Supervisor, we did ask the candidates specifically about whether they had considered the undertaking of becoming an elected official, which is very different than being appointed or being a department head or an employee or a staff member. It's a completely different facet of kind of your public life, right? And you're going to put yourself out there, and both candidates were eager, willing, and kind of fully understood what it would take to run a campaign and put themselves out there in that fashion. Everybody on here obviously knows the taxing nature of that endeavor, but I can say with confidence that both the candidates in front of us today are willing and able and prepared to undertake a full public campaign for this spot. So that's just my piece that the ad hoc did go to lengths to describe.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other additional comments? Then I will just say also thank you to both of you very much. You're both strong candidates. I know we'd be in good hands with either one of you. For me, I feel this next election is going to be incredibly important. It might be more difficult than the last elections we've had to run. And so I'm looking for experience and strong leadership to help us get through it. I think it's very clear to me that we do not take into account, we do not make assumptions about who might stay or not stay, or where you live or don't live, or things that are not part of the interview process or part of the actual job we have here, which is to make sure that we choose the strongest, most experienced person to step into this role and take us through a clean and transparent and solid election in 2025, actually, and 2026. So that's where I am right now, and I want to thank you again for your work here today. And we're going to, unless there's additional comments, we're going to go to a semi-secret ballot in that we're each going to write down our choice. It's going to go to the clerk of the board, and then they will announce who each person chose. So that will become public, and then we'll move from there.
Supervisor Rob Tucker has chosen Tina Belding. Supervisor Hardy Bullock has chosen Armando Salud Ambriz. Supervisor Sue Hook has chosen Tina Belding. Supervisor Lisa Swarthout has chosen Armando Salud Ambriz. Supervisor Heidi Hall, our chair, has chosen Armando Salud Ambriz.
All right, thank you so much. I think at this point, we're going to move right into an action. So I'm looking for an emotion and a second to choose Armando Salud Ambriz to be our next Registrar of Voters and Clerk-Recorder.
I would move to appoint Mr. Armando Salud Ambriz. Can I mention this?
We'll do that after.
Okay.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Thank you, Chair. District 5.
Yes.
District 2.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
And District 1.
Yes. All right, we're going to talk about residency requirement very quick, and then we'll give our final comments too. So, Kit, could you talk a little bit about the residency requirement?
So I believe you've been given available dates in terms of starting dates, and that appointment is conditional upon them meeting him meeting the minimum qualifications, which is residency and being registered to vote here.
All right, so we do have a start date for Mr. Salud Ambriz as October 13th, 2025. So we would, the residency requirement would apply there. Yep.
Correct.
Very good. Okay. I want to congratulate you, Mr. Salud Ambriz. We're excited to have you on board. I want to thank you, Ms. Belding, so much for your excellent presentation and answers, and encourage you to stay involved. We'd love to have you continue on doing your good work somewhere here. Thank you both for your time and attention. And unless there's any other business, we are now adjourned.